Joanne, it's such a pleasure meeting you, and I understand that Victor Hugo is someone who has had an influence on your life.
Well, yes, indirectly via my grandfather, my French grandfather, who was an enormous admirer of his. And so I had access to all his books and his poetry from an early age, starting with L'Art d'être grand-père, which I loved. And then I grew into his novels later, and I'm still a big admirer of his, of not just his work, but his life too.
Right. Well, his legacy is a legacy, of course, of literature and art, but also of ideas and principles.
Absolutely.
Um, can you say a little bit about his lifelong commitment to human rights and social justice?
Well, it was not only very unusual, but also he's been such an influence. I mean, I think my grandfather's politics, which were straightforwardly humanist and leftist, were very much associated with Hugo's principles. But I think the enormous good that he did in terms of promoting the idea that the poor were human beings and that great art needed to be restored and appreciated, and that democracy was something that could be made to work. I think all those things. But he was a man who was full of love and passion and determination. And I loved that about him.
Absolutely. And, he, in the preface to Tylers of the Sea, he wrote that for him, Guernsey was the rock of hospitality and freedom. And what, how do you see that carrying through?
I don't think he was wrong there. I think I've had wonderful hospitality here. It's a beautiful place. And if anybody wants to make me an exile here, I would happily say yes.
And with the Victor Hugo Center, we're trying to create a place that is not just recalls Victor Hugo and his life and legacy, but also becomes a center for the creative community here because Hugo was creative in so many ways. But
He was. I think that's a really good thing. I think the idea that art speaks to different generations can carry its message on. I think that's really important. And I also think the inspirational aspect of this, that it has been done, it could be done, it needs to be made to stay alive. I think all of that is very admirable.
I thank you for those thoughts, and it is something that I think is so important for both the individual because we never know who's going to become the next poet or writer or artist. Equally, it's good for the community because it instills important social values.
Yes, I think that's true. I think the act of celebrating and valuing art, literacy, ideas, all of those things are so precious now.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for those really inspired words about both Victor Hugo, the author, but also about what we're trying to create in the Victor Hugo Center. I
Well, I'm very
appreciate
much looking forward to visiting it. Thank you.
it.